Welcome once again to another edition of New Apartment Radio Podcast for the part 3, part 2, part uno, duno, tres, catorce, cinco, says? That's 7. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot more. But today is part 3 of Metallica. Today, Jackson and I are going to go through each album, not too much in detail, but enough to talk about our favorite tunes and the songs that we might not like, and maybe just even talk about if certain songs should be even changed around in the order to make the album better. Who knows? But yes, once again, this is our look at Metallica. I'm the host, Bill, joined with the producer, Jackson. What's up?
Not much, Bill. I'm excited to get back into Metallica.
That's right.
And even after we discuss the our favorites and our songs that we like and whatnot, and there's a few other things that I missed during the first two parts that I want to bring up.
All right, well, feel free if you want to get into it right now. You can.
Oh, perfect. All right, well, the first thing I was thinking of is the Unforgiven trilogy.
Yes.
Because, as everyone knows, it's one of the most iconic musical trilogies, especially in rock and metal.
Yep.
You have every other album, pretty much, until Death Magnetic, there was Unforgiven.
Yes.
Black Album, Reload, and Death Magnetic.
Yes.
Do you know much of the interesting, little fun facts or kind of connections between the three besides the bell?
I don't. I just from hearing the lyrics, I know the first one's pretty much like, it seems very much like he feels like he's aging or something. He's like, the second one feels like it's about love or like a relationship that went sour, but the third one, to this day, I don't really know what it's about. And these are just things I kind of gathered from what I'm hearing. Why? What do you have on this?
Well, lyrically, I can't remember exactly what it is, but for musically, there are some interesting things about it. So the first one came out, is big hit. They had their it was their number 4 ballad, which is a very interesting thing for Metallica, which I can get into later, but it was one of their more popular songs. It was heavier, but it was slower. But one of the interesting things was the song has a lot of correlation between the first, the second, and third, but they kind of changed. So the first one, you have a heavy verse and a soft chorus, which is completely backwards for metal and rock. Normally you have a hard chorus and a soft verse.
Yeah.
And then in Unforgiven 2, they did the opposite. They did a soft chorus or soft verse and a hard chorus.
They did, yeah.
And then for the Unforgiven 3, they went back to the original.
Oh.
Which is an interesting thing. Another thing is specific about the lyrics is I'm trying to remember exactly which is which, but I know that the first Unforgiven is about not being able to forgive somebody, I think of a lover, whatnot, not being able to forgive them. The second one, I think, is not being able to forgive yourself. Like James was not able to forgive himself. I can't remember what the third one was, but it was something along those lines. So each one is something else that he's not able to forgive, right?
Maybe the third one's just him actually just accepting it and maybe forgiving the whole situation.
Yeah. That could be. I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, that's I don't know. Those are some of the things I thought were interesting.
Yeah.
And obviously we haven't heard 72 seasons would have been the album hey, the Unforgiven Part 4. We never really got one. We kind of did with Inamorata is spiritual successor, kind of it's in the same kind of lyrical idea, but it's not a part of the trilogy.
Okay.
Or the saga, I should say, but
yeah, I don't know. That is true. 72 seasons would have had the Unforgiven 4 if there was going to be one, and it didn't. So maybe he's finally forgave himself. Maybe the forgiveness is over with. He is, or maybe I mean, perhaps maybe that was their idea going into doing the Unforgiven, is we'll kind of make a story as time goes on, and maybe the story was just a 3-part story.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would imagine it was just a
fluke.
Well, yeah. No, I imagine they wrote the first one, and then I'm guessing years later James just said, hey, why don't we make a second one?
Yeah, it's possible.
And another interesting thing about the second one that I don't think many people talk about is the fact that the guitar, because it's using a they don't. The reason they haven't played it live, I think they played it live maybe twice. But the reason why is because it uses a B bender, which means there's a I don't know if it's a spring or whatever, but it's got a bending capability like this. I think it's a spring that pulls back the bridge connected to the strap. So you pull down on the guitar when you want to bend the strings. And it makes for a really cool sound. That really cool, like twangy country sound almost. But they don't have one of those guitars, so they don't play it live.
Oh, okay. Wow, that makes sense then.
Yeah. So speaking of the number 4 ballad, I mentioned that, but there is something that it's kind of a interesting thing about their music. So if you go throughout their catalog, the first album, there's no ballads. It's all heavy. It's all in your face. It's all aggressive, right?
Yep.
The second album, you had Fade to Black. That was their first power ballad, so to speak.
It was, yep.
And that was on the number 4 spot, kind of in between the middle of the album, with the 7 track or the 8 tracks.
Yep.
And then in Master of Puppets, you have Sanitarium, which again, it's that kind of power ballad. It's a little bit heavier, I think, but same idea.
Yep.
And then again for Justice for All, you had One in that same spot, the number 4 spot.
Oh yeah.
And then with Black Album was weird because they had the number 4 ballad, The Unforgiven, which was more along the lines of something like One or Sanitarium.
Yeah.
And then you had because it's a longer album, you had a number 7 ballad, Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I don't know much about Load and Reload because those 2 albums have a lot of ballads and a lot of slower songs.
Yeah.
But if we look at the Black Album and then Death Magnetic, the number 4 ballad is their one that they know will work. They've done it. They've tried and tested. They know it'll be a good song. Their number 7 is like a kind of experimental because the Nothing Else Matters is completely acoustic.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very much an experimental. Like, hey, this might not work, but we'll throw it in there as kind of a later song. And then in Death Magnetic, The Unforgiven 3, because they did The Unforgiven 1 and 2 and they knew it worked. Those were the number 4 ballads on both of those albums, but they weren't sure if the third one would work, especially since they had The Day That Never Comes, which is basically another 1 song.
Yeah.
So they threw it in the number 7 spot instead of the number 4.
Okay. Wow.
And I think that was the last time they did that. I don't think they did that in Hardwired or 72 Seasons.
No. That's pretty. That's kind of cool. I mean, if that's either that's planned or that's just a very happy mistake.
Yeah, I think that part of it is planned, at least somewhat. I know the number 4 ballad is planned, but I'm not sure about the number 7. That might just be a coincidence.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That is different. I honestly say I did not have any. I mean, that never would have came to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I saw
it never came to me. It was a few years ago where I just watched this one YouTuber that made a bunch of videos on interesting Metallica stuff, and that was some of the things he was talking about were the Unforgiven trilogy and these number 4 ballads and whatnot.
Wow.
I'm like, if you don't really think about it, you don't notice it.
No, you don't.
It's something that's completely hidden.
That is, yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, my friend?
The one thing I wanted to talk about is, I don't know if you had ended up watching it, because I know I told you a while ago, but the Master of Puppets music video?
No, I didn't end up watching it.
Okay,
no.
so this was something I just wanted to mention, because I think it's one of the coolest music videos, well, quote-unquote music videos. It's kind of like a live music video, but it's one of the coolest videos I've ever seen. If there's anyone out there that hasn't seen it, you should go back. It was during I think it was around 2009, maybe, somewhere around that area, and they had a live performance, and they had a really cool stage set, but they had a music video to go along with it. And it's a really interesting back and forth between the live and the video, and it's such an... Every time I think about this Master of Puppets, I think of that video. I don't know why.
Huh.
It's kind of similar to One, though. Like, every time I hear One, I think of the video. Right?
Yeah. I guess that's a good thing to have the music videos. It helps you want to remember the song or watch.
Yeah, especially when Master of Puppets originally didn't have any music videos.
No.
It wasn't because it was they were still pretty underground at the time, but it didn't really have any.
Yeah, I think One was their first video ever.
Yeah.
Wow. And then the last album they did, I saw they have a video for every single song on the album.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, they did their own.
They did lyric videos, and then they had animations for the ones that don't have a normal video. Yeah.
Insane.
Well, if they own their own production company, why not, right?
That is true. They can have a lot of fun with it now.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of production companies, when they released Kill 'Em All, they didn't have their own production
Oh God,
company.
no.
That was under a Megaforce label.
Megaforce.
Megaforce. I'm looking at it right here. July 25th, 1983, Kill 'Em All was released. And in the US, it sold 4,500,000 copies. That's what it says.
That's a lot of copies.
That's what it says there. Yeah.
Is that to date?
It's got to be. It can't be to date. No way.
4 million? No, it'd probably be like 20 million by now.
It'd have to be by now. I think maybe that's when it first.
Yeah, probably
came
the first
out.
year or so.
Yeah, there's So we're going to take a look now into a Kill 'Em All. Kill 'Em All, the amazing cover with the red and black and the blood and the sledgehammer and all that on the front. It's a great looking cover, very cartoonish in that it pops when you look at it.
It's very metal.
It's
very like aggressive, very angry. It's metal.
They were thinking of Dave's head there when they did that. No, I'm kidding. Maybe, who knows, right?
Yeah,
who knows what they were feeling with Dave at the time. But they have, of course, 10 songs on the album. There's bonus tracks, though. In 1988, Elektra reissued Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg as bonus tracks on the album.
Huh.
And a digital reissue, the Four Horsemen Live and Whiplash Live as well. But, I mean, live songs to me is kind of just a cheap way of giving you extra songs.
Yeah,
you know?
Especially nowadays where you can get the box set, which has like 3 live performances and a bunch of demos.
For sure, yeah. So there's 10 songs on this album, like I said. The ones to me that really, reach out to me and that I enjoyed was Hit the Lights, The Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, Seek and Destroy. I mean, really, those ones are solid.
Yeah, Seek and Destroy is definitely the most popular. It's one of their more popular early songs.
Yeah, and not saying... I'm sorry, but not saying any of the other songs are bad. Just those were the ones that jumped out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I used to love Seek and Destroy, but I've heard it so much, and it's such a different song than the rest of the album. Like, it's the slowest song on the album. It's got a very repetitive chorus in a way, and I still enjoy the song, but it's definitely my least, or at least one of my least favorite songs because I've heard it so much.
It's the second longest song on the album at 6 minutes and 54 seconds.
Four Horsemen's only longer because of the slow part, right?
Yes, 7 minutes and 13 seconds. And I just want to say this right now when I'm looking at this, that Dave Mustaine does get listed for 4 songs, helping write them, that being Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, Phantom Lord, and Metal Militia.
Yep.
Did Dave ever play any of those songs with Megadeth
I don't think so.
No.
Not that I know of. Maybe in the early days when they were still like touring and they only had one album.
Yeah.
But the only times I know that he played those songs was during the 30th anniversary when he joined them on stage.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know he's used some of the riffs. He's co-written when we get to Ride the Lightning. He's credited for co-writing Call of Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
And that main intro chord structure,
right?
He uses that in a few other songs.
Okay.
So he'll use the stuff he's written, but he'll change it up. He won't make it the same. He'll kind of make it sound different.
Here's something interesting. The pulling teeth, anesthesia. There you go. I can't say it too well. I'm glad you said it. It's fully Cliff Burton's song, apparently.
So it's the bass solo, right?
That's the bass. Oh, yeah, that is. Yeah,
when you hear it's a bass solo, take one, and then it's just eventually you hear the drums.
Yeah,
and
but
a little bit of guitar.
So he, I guess, helped write the whole. I mean, he must have been the lead guy to write the whole thing.
I'm willing to bet they were in the studio, and he was just like, you can hear the bass solo, take one. I'm willing to bet they just hit record. He started playing, and then halfway through,
they joined in.
They joined in. It's probably a spontaneous thing.
Okay.
It might have been like he might have written some of the solo beforehand because he is a very methodical writer.
Right.
But yeah, I think the songs that stand out the most for me would be Four Horsemen for sure, because it's such a, besides Seek and Destroy, it's a slower song, but it's such a interesting song lyrically, and the slow part is there's only 2 slow parts on the album. that and Phantom Lord, and it's just interesting ones.
Mm-hmm.
Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, Phantom Lord. I really like No Remorse. That's one that I think James brought from his band before Metallica.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I also like, I like every song in the album. My least favorite's probably Metal Militia, then Seek and Destroy, but
it's all right.
They're all good. Motor Breath is a hard one not to pass up as well, because it's just so fast and short.
Oh yeah.
I think it's still their shortest song. I don't think Hardwired beats
Yeah,
it.
Motor Breath is 3 minutes and 8 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Hardwired is 3:11, so I think it's slightly longer. Yeah.
There's this album totals 51 minutes and 20 seconds, so just under an hour.
Ironically, pretty long compared to their early stuff.
It is, because this is, like I said, they have 10 songs on this.
Yeah, there's 2 extra songs, right?
A lot of the songs, though, very fast. Like, they're all short, really, when you look at them. 4 minutes are averaging.
2 or 3 minutes, 3 songs above 6 minutes. The rest are basically below 5 minutes.
Yeah, I just saw that. So they definitely, like I said, that how punk music is metal's, dirty little sister or cousin, or whatever the hell I worded it as. You can tell this album could easily be a punk album just by how long these songs are and how fast they are.
You can kind of see where they were going as well with songs like Seek and Destroy, Four Horsemen, and No Remorse. You can definitely see those longer songs are definitely the kind of area they started to push when they went to Ride the Lightning.
They did, which is their next album. Ride the Lightning was released July 27th, 1984, 1 year and 2 days after Kill 'Em All was released, still with Megaforce. Sold 6,950,000. So
I'm guessing, that's got to be like the first year or something, because it's sold way more by now.
Especially because I just saw when I bought them off of Amazon not too long ago. Yeah, it said how many were sold off Amazon. So
I know Master Puppet's at like 50 or something.
Yeah, and plus, when you're selling your albums only at $23, vinyl records $23. That's insane, that's right? Thank you, Metallica. This is an album that has 8 songs on it with bonus tracks.
They cut 2 off and they've just merged them into the other ones because it's close to the same length.
Yeah. The bonus tracks for the digital reissue, of course, are live songs of For Whom the Bell Tolls and Creeping Death. This album, like I said, 8 songs. Average, the total length for it is 47 minutes and 26 seconds. So you're looking at, not that long of an album, much shorter than Kill 'Em All.
6 minutes, 7 minutes shorter.
Yeah. The longest song is 8 minutes and 55 seconds. The shortest song looks to be 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yeah. Race.
For me, my favorite songs on here are Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Fade to Black. Now, the reason why... the first half. Now, those were the first half I listened to religiously when I got the album.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as time went on, I ended up liking the last half of the album just as much as the first half. And Trapped Under Ice became one of my favorite songs to listen to, as well as Escape. I mean, and of course, Creeping Death and the call of the... How do you want to pronounce
Cthulhu.
that? Cthulhu, yeah. The instrumental at the end.
Yeah, it's weird because they spelt it Cthulhu, and that's how it's said, but they're referencing Cthulhu.
Oh, okay.
And they just spelt it wrong.
Oh, that's funny. That instrumental at the end is the perfect way to end the album. I thought it was a nice kind of like a fade out to
This is the one album that they've done 3 other, besides this, they've done 3 other instrumentals, and each one has a track after it, and normally that last track is the heaviest. But I think because of the way Call of Cthulhu is written, it's the only one that I'm okay with there not being one of. I used to think that there should be another one on the behind it, on the second half of it, but I'm okay with it because it's not because of the way it's written, right?
Right. I also want to bring up too how amazing the artwork is for the cover too. The blue and the purple and the white and silver.
It looks really good until you look closely, and then it's like, there's some weird things in it.
Yeah, there is.
It's got some weird CGI on it.
Yeah. I also noticed here too that Dave Mustaine once again has his name for Ride the Lightning and for the Call of Cthulhu. The Call of Cthulhu, or whatever that is again. Yeah. But yeah, Ride the Light. I didn't know Ride the Lightning.
I'm trying to remember what riff it was. It was before one of the solos. Yeah, I don't remember.
Wow. Yeah, but so it looks.
And the funny thing is, well, once we get to Master Puppets, there might be another one credited. But what's interesting, I'm not sure if I think he has written. I think on the Kill 'Em All, the songs that he wrote, like obviously Four Horsemen is his song.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally mechanics, right? He made his own version of it,
mm-hmm.
and some of the other ones. But some of these, I'm not so sure if it's his riffs that they stole or if it's just they played with him for so long that they picked up a lot of his playing and his style.
Well,
and used
maybe
that.
that's possible.
Just kind of like, hey, this isn't directly your riff, but this is something you would have played, right?
Yeah.
I think that's especially when you get to Master Puppets, but
for sure. I just noticed something here too. For Kill 'Em All, they had 4 hits that made it on the radio. Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, and Seek and Destroy. Ride the Lightning only had 3. For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, and Creeping Death.
yeah, Ride the Lightning is a big song, but it's not as it didn't hit the radio ever.
No.
Yeah.
But you can see now, short album, 8 songs, longer songs for a majority.
Speaking,
yeah,
even the shortest song is longer than
right. Looks like you kind of see now where they're going, and that brings. Oh, did you go over your songs on here?
I did not.
Oh, go. Sorry about that. Go for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Creeping Death is my favorite. I really like Trapped Under Ice. That was one of my favorites when I was listening to the album.
Yeah,
it's a fast, it's a punky song.
It is.
Fade to Black is always going to be a great song.
Yes.
I like For Whom the Bell Tolls, but at this point, I think I like the Sabaton cover much better.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if I can go back to it. Yeah, I think those are probably... And Ride the Lightning is also really good.
The way it started out with Fight Fire with Fire was super good, though. That's a good song to start off that.
And, like, acoustic or...
longest song without the instrumental, though, looks to be Fade to Black with 6:55. Yeah. So, like I said, 8 songs, kind of seeing where they're going, and that's when they hit us next with Master of Puppets. It came out March 3rd, 1986, so about a year and a half later. It was under a new label. This is Elektra now. We're under a new record label. So someone caught a hold of Metallica and said, here's more money. You know, Megaforce got screwed there. They're done. But Master of Puppets, the album sold 7,980,000. So that's up about 1 million from Ride the Lightning. Yeah.
This was a pivotal album for them because before they were starting to grow in the underground. When Ride the Lightning came out, they were starting to get big in the underground metal scene, and Master Puppets really took them to the forefront.
It did.
They didn't quite reach like mainstream until probably Justice, maybe Black Album, depending on how you look at it.
I'm gonna say Black Album because that's when
one was like hey, they kind of were starting to creep in, but yeah, Master Puppets was like, hey, the forefront of underground thrash.
Yeah. The album cover for Puppets is great too. All the crosses.
Probably my favorite.
Yeah, the orange, the red, yellow. Yeah, it's
one of my favorite details of it is how the logo is made of marble.
Yeah,
because the logo's always changed for them. Like it's the same Metallica font, but the fact that it's made of the marble that the crosses are made of is such a nice touch.
It is very cool. With this album now, we actually have once again 8 songs on it with bonus tracks on the digital reissue being Battery Live and The Thing That Should Not Be Live. However, with this one, we definitely get a lot longer songs. The shortest song on this one is only 5 minutes and 13 seconds, and that is the opening Battery, which is a killer tune. And the longest on here looks to be Master of Puppets with 8 minutes and 36 seconds.
Not much longer than Orion, though.
No, Orion's 8:28. Yeah, so it's and not much longer than Disposable Heroes, which is 8:17.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, they're all long songs.
So this album had 4 hits that made it the radio. What am I? I made it the radio. Yeah, made it to radio. That would be Battery, Master of Puppets, Disposable Heroes, and Orion.
Disposable Heroes made it to the radio.
Apparently, it's highlighted blue. So the ones that are highlighted blue are the ones that are like the hits. I thought Welcome Home Sanitarium would have been, but unless it was a deep cut later on that they added to the radio, I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
I
know.
thought
I
I heard it
thought
on the
it was
radio.
too. Yeah, that's why I'm really confused about Disposable Heroes.
Unless they screwed up, whoever did this
Yeah, I
wiki
don't know.
thing. And
Well, the way it might be something else as well. It might be like there's notable things to talk about on them or
well,
whatnot.
to be fair, and I know this is a metal album, but I'll just do this as an example. When Vanilla Ice first came out, Ice Ice Baby wasn't even anywhere on the radar to be a radio song until one day the DJ flipped the record and played what was on the B side, and it was Ice Ice Baby that caught on and became the biggest. So maybe Welcome Home, like maybe Metallica said these are going to be the 4 we think are going to be radio, and then they're like,
it would be weird though. Sanitarium's definitely a Fade to Black, and they knew Fade to Black was popular, so I feel like they would assume that Sanitarium.
Yeah, but it's not. It didn't get the highlights, so I'm 100% sure that's what these highlights are because the songs are all popular that are blue.
Yeah.
So unless someone, I mean, Disposable Hero seems like
it's a deep cut. That's why it doesn't get me. Like it's the third least popular. No, third least popular on the album on Spotify. So
that's got to, maybe I don't know.
I wonder if it's either the fact that they're singles or it might be like extra information if you click those links. I'm not sure, but
it's possible. But I don't know why that would be. Let me take a look and see what happens here if I click on it.
While you're doing that, I'll just go over the ones that kind of stand out for me. Obviously, Battery is Battery is the one we've used for the opening for our podcast for around 15 episodes now. I think there's been a few episodes that I haven't used it, but it's such a great track, especially with it's the sequel to Fight Fire with Fire in a lot of ways. It's fast, it's aggressive, and it has that acoustic intro.
Yes.
Master Puppets always is such a it's almost like an anthem track at this point. It's a song you want to sing along to a lot of times and just kind of chant to. Sanitarium's my favorite Metallica song, so that's obviously one that caught my eye. And then Disposable Heroes is an underrated song. Those are probably my 4 favorite.
For me, it's Battery, Master of Puppets, and Welcome Home Sanitarium. Those are the ones I listen to the most. I kind of I like this album, but I kind of didn't give it a lot of love back in the day because I always heard like Master of Puppets is the greatest album ever. And I'm just like, at the time, I was kind of like rebellious. I'm just like, well, then I'm not going to give it the love that you people think I should. Now when I listen to it, though, I do like it a lot. I don't like it as much as Ride the Lightning, but I like it a lot more than some other Metallica albums, that's for sure. So it's just a good album. Like you said, it was the album that kind of helped make Metallica not well known, but I guess known in the music.
It helps cement them into iconicism.
Yeah, and like you said, this album was picked as one of the albums that went into what was it?
Yeah, I forget what it was.
The Hall of Fame, kind of, or whatever it was. I forget.
Yeah, the important
albums
important cultural albums or whatever it was. Yeah.
So that's kind of neat.
Yeah. I hope at some point that Ride the Lightning or one of their other albums goes in there because I feel like Master Puppets is definitely the most important lyrically.
Yes.
I think the lyrics are a lot more impactful on Master Puppets, where Ride the Lightning is very close behind.
Yes. The next album that came out was September 7th, 1988, and it was the first album without Cliff Burton, as we said. This is the Jason Newsted era. It is called And Justice for All. The label is still Elektra, and they sold 9,700,000.
Yeah, that 2 million boost, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
That was probably because of one.
Probably
first music video, first big radio hit.
Yeah. The album cover is really cool. The Statue of Liberty.
Another one of their best.
Yeah.
Master Puppets in this are probably their best too.
Yeah, that's very cool looking. It pops. It's like that's the thing.
It's striking.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
This album had 9 songs on it. The longest song it had looks to be 9 minutes and 49 seconds.
Up until Death Magnetic, this was their longest song. And then after Death Magnetic, Inamorata became the longest song.
Okay.
So this is their third longest song, I think.
To Live is to Die. is the song.
Yeah, in my opinion, their most underrated. Like either this or Suicide and Redemption. Those are the two other ones. But
and
this is probably one of their more underrated.
That reminds me,
instrumentals.
Master of Puppets was 54 minutes in length, so it went up from Ride the Lightning by 10 minutes, I guess. 45
minutes,
to, something like that. Justice for All is 65 minutes and 25 seconds.
Long record.
Yeah, that's so they've went over an hour.
And only one more track. Like they increased, what was that, 10 minutes? Yeah, but about 10 minutes from one track, and that was Till Live Is to Die. Everything else is pretty close.
But when you got some long songs on
Justice for All is only 3 seconds shorter.
Yeah, it's again like they're all, you might as well say they're 10-minute songs, right? Justice for All songs. And To Live Is to Die, and then you got one which is 7 minutes and 26 seconds. The shortest song looks to be 5:14. Yeah. And think about that, 5:14, and when you looked at Kill 'Em All, that was like the average of their songs.
There's a few below it, a few higher.
Yeah. For me, this album, my favorite songs were Blackened and Justice for All, One, and Harvester of Sorrow were the ones.
Those are the radio hits too, I think.
And Eye of the Beholder apparently is highlighted blue here, so
I think that's probably more like there's like some interesting stuff about it. I'm not sure, but I think there's some like connections to a book or something about that one.
Okay. Oh, maybe that's why those are blue then, because that could have been why some of them. By the way, Blackened also is credit for Jason Newsted helping write that one. Only song
he has 3 songs he helped write with. I'm pretty sure 3 songs that he helped write with Metallica: Blackened, My Friend of Misery, and The House That Jack Built.
Okay. Cliff Burton also helped To Live Is to Die.
To Live Is to Die is his last credited song, and it was, and he was obviously the instrumental guy. Like if you go back, he's a big portion of Orion and Call Cthulhu, and like the instrumentals in other parts of songs. But To Live Is to Die was the last kind of song that he had written or started writing before he passed, and so they used. He's only technically credited for some like lyrical part at like halfway through, some like spoken part, but you can tell that the music is written by him and or at least inspired by stuff he wrote.
With that being said, with this album here, this was. Do you think this was Metallica's way of trying to get into that mainstream? Like, were they hoping? You think?
I don't think so at all. This album is one of their heavier albums. It's slow, but it's heavy. Like it's a different tuning. They have like their ballads, so to speak. Like they had Fade Black and Sanitarium before this, which they're heavy, right? They got some fast parts, but like one goes blazing at that second half of the song. So I don't think it's anywhere near as it can be compared. I think this is the album that they were grieving in this album, and you can tell. It feels like when you're listening through the album, especially the last 2 songs, you can feel like it feels like you're going through 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
Like in the last 2, like you listen to To Live to Die, you get all the like. Well, at least you kind of feel like most of the stages. You get grief, you get depression, you have regret, you have anger, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of like it's weird because you have it starts off like a nice calm and I don't even know how to say it, but like the intro to Till Live to Die is very soothing and whatnot, and then it goes very heavy for a while, and then it has a small interlude in the middle where it's very like sad. It's one of the few songs that I've almost cried to.
Yeah.
I don't cry too much, especially in music, but that was one of the most beautiful, like written, like very sad parts, and then it goes back into heavy. Yeah. And once the song ends, it fades out, and Dyer's Eve, the fastest song on the record, plays, and it is just killer.
That's not too bad then. I really, like I said, I got to give that album. So I gave that album like.
Yeah, it's a hard. Well, that's the thing. It's a hard one to listen to because of the production.
Yeah.
But the writing on it is so well done that it's hard not to ignore.
So, what's your songs you're going with here?
So for sure, To Live Is to Die and Dyer's Eve. Those are some of my favorite. Like To Live Is to Die is my favorite instrumental, and Dyer's Eve is my second favorite song by Metallica. One is a big one. I really like. I think it's Eye of the Beholder. I always get switch between the frayed ends of Sanity and Eye of the Beholder.
Okay.
but it's one of those, one and Justice for All. I like Blackened, but it's not as up on my list.
Okay.
My least favorite's probably Harvester of Sorrow, though, because it's just meh.
Nice. Well, that was in 1988. They would release another album, and this album, unfortunately, no one ever really bought or heard of. It didn't get popular at all. It was
No.
released August 12th, 1991. It's
Had
just
one of the best album covers ever that I heard.
yeah, it's just called Metallica.
It's just called Metallica.
Yeah. So Justice for All sold 9,700,000. Not too bad. The Black Album sold 17,300,000.
Yeah, so double.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's insane. Think about that, people. 17 million right off the bat. We're like, here's 17 million.
I'd say we all give all the credit to, obviously they wrote the song, so we got to credit them, but I think Bob Rock is more of a player than anybody would give him credit for.
Yeah, totally.
Especially with The Unforgiven. Have you seen that short little video of the original solo for Unforgiven?
No.
I'll show you that after if I can remember. There was a video of during recording the studio where Kirk was trying to do a solo for The Unforgiven.
Yeah.
And Lars was sitting there and he was going like this because it was just so bad. And they were all like cringing at the sound. And then Bob Rock was like, hey, just fucking do it. You can fucking make this. We know you can. Just fucking write it. And then the next take, the Unforgiven, the one that you hear on the record. And it's such a banger of a solo.
Nice.
It's one of the best solos, I think.
Nice. This album totals 62 minutes. So again, just over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
The album's completely black, the cover. So it's nothing nice about it, but it's cool anyway.
It's a really bad. I've always thought it's probably their worst album cover.
Oh yeah, because
it's
supposed to be a snake or something.
Well, the snake is for "Don't Tread on Me."
Yeah,
right, and that's
really
supposed to be the title track in a way. But you can't read the logo. You can't read their logo. It's such a fucking they got the blue outline, but it's awful. The snake is a cool touch, but I wish it was drawn instead of just photoshopped in 2 images, and they're like, "Yep, that's good."
Yeah. The longest song on here looks to be My Friend of Misery.
Wherever on My Room should be longer. Oh, no, you're right. No, you're
My Friend
right.
of Misery by 3 seconds. Yeah, it's a few seconds. The shortest song is The Struggle Within. 3 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah, this album is,
yeah,
what, 3 minutes shorter than Injustice, but it's 4 songs longer.
Yeah, 12
3 songs longer.
Yeah. They had a lot of hits too. Enter Sandman, Sad But True, The Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam, Don't Tread on Me, Nothing Else Matters, The God That Failed.
I don't know if I'd say The God That Failed. The other ones for sure. The God That Failed, I think, is not one of the more popular songs.
No. This whole album though is really good from front to back though. Like I said, it's if you want to listen to Metallica, you don't know what to listen to, you throw on the Black Album.
Black Album is your go-to.
Yeah.
Even if everyone's heard Enter Sandman 100 times. Same with Nothing Else Matters. But some of the deeper cuts, like My Friend of Misery, is one of their best songs.
Yeah, I agree.
There's so many deep cuts that people don't listen to as often.
Yeah, so
even though it's so popular.
Right. If I was to go through this, name off my favorite songs off this album.
I'd name half of it.
Yeah, Enter Sandman, Sad But True, The Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam, Don't Tread on Me, Through the Never, Nothing Else Matters, A Wolf and Man. Actually, you know what? Just everything. Yeah, I might as well name Holier Than Thou is like one of my. It would be like the number 12. You know, that's the least favorite of mine. My favorite, if I had to pick my absolute favorite, like I said, The Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters. Those two, depending what day it is.
Yeah, the ballads.
Yeah, depending what day. And then, of course, for harder stuff, Enter Sandman, Sad But True, depending what day it is. I like them both, but. Yeah. What do you got for this one?
I can't. The only song that I don't like is The God That Failed. Every other song's great. I think My Friend of Misery, The Unforgiven, Enter Sandman, and Wherever I May Roam are like the big ones for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to choose one.
The Japanese edition bonus track is So What. The cover of So What is what they gave for the Black Album. So that's kind of neat, I guess. You can also get that on Garage Inc., which, by the way, we will be talking about coming up when we get back into this. Join us again after this commercial break to hear what we feel about the next albums that end the 90s era on this special edition of Metallica New Apartment Radio. This is Bill.
And this is Jackson.
And if you want to check out our top favorite Metallica songs and albums in favorite order, go to
New Apartment Radio on YouTube.
That's right. Check out everything there from the first album right to the last. That, once again, is New Apartment Radio. Wow, those guys were so cool with that commercial, I gotta say. Yeah. We gotta hire them. It is now time to go into an era that Jackson won't be fully detailed in.
Yeah, I don't know nearly as much.
Not as much as I will, unfortunately. And I say that because a lot of people don't like these albums, but I love them. And
people have grown to like them more, I think.
I think it's because as time goes on, people's music tastes changed, and they're like,
less, what's the word I'm looking for? They're less, I don't know what I'm trying to think. No, they're more willing to accept the albums.
Well, that's the thing I find too. As I got older, personally, a lot of my music tastes changed. Where songs I liked 30 years ago, I'm like, I don't know if I like them anymore. You know, it's just. But with this album, I do still love. This is Load. It came out June 4th, 1996 by Elektra label still. So they're still with Elektra. Unfortunately, they didn't come anywhere near selling the 17 million for this one. It was only 5,400,000. That's a big drop. That's even a lesser drop than Justice, than Master of Puppets, than Ride the Lightning. That is just above Kill 'Em All, but only by like 900,000. So
yeah, not much.
Not much at all for the Load album. Load, of course, with fire on the cover.
Yeah.
Well,
it does look like it.
It's not fire. You people, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's blood mixed with something. It's called Load. Think about it. There you go. This album is a total of 78 minutes and 59 seconds. That is one long album. That's
long.
14 songs. 14. That's the longest album they did up to this date, 14. Their shortest song on this album looks to be 3 minutes and 57 seconds. That was Wasting My Hate. And their longest song looks to be 9 minutes, 49 seconds, which is The Outlaw Torn, which I know you are a fan of.
Oh, yeah.
That is a good song. Yeah. This album had a few hits that, like Ain't My Bitch, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, and Mama Said. A lot of the deep cuts, like The Outlaw Torn, Thorn Within, Wasting My Hate, The House That Jack Built, all cool songs to listen to. This album, like you said, has a little bit of a country twang to it. With that being said, I'll just say this. I personally like the album. I thought a lot of the songs are catchy. And maybe it's because I'm not a metalhead. You know, I'm not hardcore into like loud metal music. So this to me was perfect. I just loved it. I thought it was... Because Load to me, you can go back and listen to the Black Album and you can listen to Load and somehow that works. You can listen to Injustice for All, you can listen to the Black Album, somehow that works. You cannot listen to Injustice for All and then listen to Load.
No,
you just can't.
There's a huge gap.
Yeah. And I guess it has to do with the sound. It has to do with Metallica at the time. This is the album where they cut their hair too, don't forget. The long hair was gone. The short hair was in. They all look like the people that they probably hated when they were growing up. They all had that preppy look to them now, the short hair, and it looked funny. It was like, this is Metallica. But my favorite songs off the album, like I said, Outlaw Torn, Thorn Within, Wasting My Hate, all good songs. For the main hits, Until It Sleeps and King Nothing are always going to be popular songs to listen to. And with that, all that, what is your favorite? I mean, because you know a little bit about this.
Yeah. It's hard because if I'm just looking at the studio record, it's probably King Nothing and Ain't My Bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're talking about like and like the songs as a whole,
Yeah.
like including like the S&M versions and whatnot. The Outlaw Torn, Hero of the Day, and Bleeding Me are probably
They're pretty
even
good.
Until It Sleeps. Those are all pretty good.
They definitely are a lot, and that's one of the good things about S&M, I guess, is that with a lot of these songs in here, you could hear it being played with a symphony. You already got that vibe. So, yeah, it's a very cool album for me, just nostalgic. It was my first Metallica album, and I'm glad that someone out there, you said it today, said Load was one of their favorite albums on the. So that was the YouTube thing. Yeah, so not too shabby, but a year later. November 18th, 1997, we get Reload, which actually sold less than Load did, only 4,480,000. And it's funny when I say that that's a bad number. You're still selling 4 million. Like, geez, that's insane. But compared to what they were doing just earlier on, it's not very good. Reload, the cover art, again, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It looks almost like a sun, with the red and yellow. It's just I don't know. I feel like I mean, we all know what it is, but I just
PG.
13 songs on this one, 76 minutes, so 2 minutes shorter than Load.
One song shorter, one song less, and 2 minutes shorter.
Yeah. Their longest song on this one is 8 minutes, 15 seconds. That was Fixer.
Yep.
Shortest song looks to be
probably Fuel.
4:05.
Oh, no.
With Bad Seed.
Yeah.
This album, like Fuel, Memory Remains, Unforgiven 2, and Better Than You, all big hits. For me personally, my favorite song off this album, number 11. Look what number 11 is.
Low
Man's Lyric. That's it. Now, do you think that they put it near the end? Because, like you said, a lot of Metallica, once they get near the end, like you said, usually number 7, if there's 11 or 12 songs on the album, that's their next one. Again, Low Man's Lyric near the end of the album, in between Attitude and Prince Charming, both a little more heavier songs. You got the Unforgiven 2 at 4. You got all those songs in between, and then Low Man's Lyric again.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way they do that, where I don't know. It's like they might have a plan here to actually do these.
Yeah, I know Load more than this album. Is Carpe Diem Baby, is that a slower song as well?
No, it's like it's slow but heavy. It's like
okay, so more like Devil's Dance.
Yeah, it's like that. It's but it's good. Carpe Diem is good. That's the song where he goes, suck it. He says "suck it" in it, and right before he goes to the guitar solo.
Nice.
Which, by the way, at the time, "suck it" was a huge thing in pop culture. You know, you pointed at your crotch and you said "suck it." That's can't get away with that nowadays, but back then you could.
Well, they can go suck it.
Yeah. My favorite song for hit songs were "Memory Remains" and "The Unforgiven 2." And no, that isn't James or Lars singing the song in "The Memory Remains." Yeah, it's some old lady named Marianne Faithfull. Yeah. And she was a woman that Lars saw someday somewhere and said, we need to have her sing or something. Lars was weird. Is weird. Let's be honest.
You should clarify is.
Yeah,
always has been.
Always has. Yeah. Attitude is a really good song, and Fixer, 2 heavy songs at the end of the album, which are my deep cut favorites.
Yeah.
Carpe Diem Baby is still one of my favorite songs.
I think the 3 I want to listen to the most would be like before and after Low Man's Lyric. So Prince Charming, Attitude, and Fixture. Those are the ones I think I've heard once, but I want to listen to them more.
Where the Wild Things Are has got a cool, like, you know how Bon Jovi and Living on a Prayer is that that sound that Prince Where the Wild Things Are does that too. That that whatever that guitar mouth sound
fuzz,
they do that in there. So that's pretty cool. Nothing really can be said about this album except for it is just Load Part 2. It's supposed to be the double album.
Yeah. You can hear it. Even like like a lot, especially with like Devil's Dance and
Mm-hmm.
Slither and like those kind of songs. They sound like could be on load.
And Devil's Dance is actually a song I don't care for.
I don't. I
You
like
know,
it, but it's yeah.
I never. It'd be number 13 if I was to rank these, like what songs I like from favorite to least. Devil's
Sure,
Dance would be
yeah.
my last, and I don't know why. I just something about it. I like. I'll listen to it, but
Yeah.
I never say to myself, I want to listen to it. You know, if I'm doing the album, I'll listen to
Mhm.
it. But all lyrics are written by James Hetfield.
They always are.
Yes,
Pretty well.
Jason Newsted, of course, with Where the Wild Things Are
Yeah,
for
that's
this
the
one.
second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other one that he wrote was. Oh no, that would be the third one he wrote. Yeah, because he wrote Blackened, My Friend in Misery, and then Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
Those will be the end of the long albums from Metallica.
We're gonna gloss over Garage Inc. We'll just sing. We're not gonna get into that too much with because they are either it's a live album or it's a cover album.
Yeah.
For Garage Inc. though, I have to admit the artwork is cool. They all look like mechanics.
Yeah, they definitely got that.
Yeah, that's a neat look. Some of the best cover songs on there, like Tuesday's Gone and Turn the Page, Die Die My Darling. They're all going to be great songs. The production to that sounds a lot like Load and Reload, which isn't surprising.
More the country stuff.
Yeah,
right?
very, very.
It's only a year after.
It is. It came out like in late '98. S&M came out in '99, and like Jackson, you were saying, a lot of the songs we hear off Load, Reload, and even some of the other earlier albums sound awesome on S&M with the orchestra. So, folks, check out S&M for sure. If you okay, first of all, if we talked about why did Metallica ever do a greatest hits album, S&M's are the greatest hits. Just get S&M 1 and 2. There's their greatest hits. Get that.
You've got a lot of the same songs on them, but like those are their best hits.
Right? Yeah, for sure. So it brings us now to June 5th, 2003. The label is still Elektra. Saint Anger comes out, only selling 2 million copies.
Their least sold record to this day, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think Death Magnetic sold more. I'm not sure. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I'm sure it had already, yeah.
This was the album where Jason Newsted had left the band.
Yes.
He fucking left the band, as Lars would say.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely not a very welcome, like we talked about this in the last episode, but they're definitely not a welcome start to the new year.
No. They 75 minutes was the total for that.
It's a long album for it being not good.
Well, there's 3 8-minute songs on here.
Yeah, and then like 4 7-minute songs, right?
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. The only cool thing with Saint Anger, I'll say, is that the album cover.
The album cover is awesome.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's striking. It's well done artwork. It's that. What's ironic, I think I'm going to assume it's the same artist that has done their singles, because their main artwork has been done by someone other than the single artwork. Right, yeah. But like if you look at The Harvester of Sorrow or some of their Black Album singles, all of those singles have an artwork. Yes. And I think this is the same. It looks different because it's with red and orange, where normally it's like a gray and white and kind of like beige look. Yep. But it's such a good, crispy art. Yeah. That's how I like to describe it. It's such good. There's 4 songs highlighted in blue here. We got Frantic, Saint Anger, Some Kind of Monster, and The Unnamed Feeling. Oh, really? I thought All Within My Hands would have been, because that is the name of their charity organization. Okay, no, that's the last track on the album, though. For me, when I listen to this, of course, the first 3 songs are my favorite. You mentioned Dirty Window, which comes in number 4. Really good one. I'm gonna have to check that out. Probably my favorite. Like I dislike Frantic's chorus. I dislike some of the parts in Saint Anger, but generally those 2 songs are good. Some Kind of Monster is pretty good. The Unnamed Feeling is not bad, but Dirty Window is probably my favorite. It's got a lot of feeling of like Load and Reload, but obviously with Saint Anger. I'll have to check that out. And I ranked this album as at one time would have been the one I hated the most, right? I would have picked it underneath Justice. When I did the rankings, I put Saint Anger as the one right above Justice. And the reason why is because I still feel to this day, when I listen to it now, that it shouldn't be Metallica singing it. It should be a punk band from England or something singing it. And I think it would have had a much better... Make the songs a bit shorter. Yeah. And then it would have been great. Yeah, it would have been a great album. But
Metallica tried something new with this one, and it.
Yeah, and well, I think most of the band recognizes it was bad. I think a few of them, I'm not going to name names, but I think a few of them are kind of smoking crack when they're on cope and they're like, oh yeah, this is good. And it's not. Most of them know it's not good.
No, I would never say it's good either. I would say that, as like I said, as I got older, I can listen to it now and be
It's
like,
tolerable.
yeah, it's like, if it wasn't Metallica singing it, it'd be
Yeah.
great. That's how I look at it. That's Magnetic,
Yeah.
September 12th,
The
2008.
biggest gap to this
Yeah.
point, 5 years.
This is your favorite, one of your
Second
second favorite
yeah.
album, yeah. 2,100,000.
So less.
No, just by 100,000.
By 100,000,
Yeah.
so barely more, which makes sense because after Death Magnetic, or after Saint Anger, everyone was like, "We're done with Metallica. We're just not gonna."
So I downloaded this album when it came out, and I gave it a chance because I hated Metallica then, and I hated, and I'll be honest, I did. I hated Metallica for a few reasons, and I look at it this way: I look at it like a relationship. Like you're in love with this person, and they fuck you over, and you can't stand it. Yeah. And Lars originally stabbed us when he fucked with Napster on us.
Yeah. And that was in between. Was it?
That was 2001. That was before.
Okay.
And then he releases a shit album to piss on you afterwards. It's like, oh, thanks. Like we weren't going to download this crap anyhow, jack off. So, Death Magnetic. I listened to it when I first downloaded it. I got it because I wanted to hear the Unforgiven 3. I didn't listen to the album again at all after that. I listened to Unforgiven 3. That was on my playlist of things because I love it because it's Unforgiven. I didn't listen to it again until we did Metallica-thon last summer when we went through all the albums. Then I listened to it a third time when you got me Death Magnetic for my birthday.
Yeah.
When listening to it again through you and through on my own, I found out I love All Nightmare Long.
That's probably one of the more well appreciated songs of this era.
Yes. So I have them written down here because I'm not familiar with the songs like I was.
Of course, yeah.
Broken, Beat, and Scarred.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yep. The Day That Never Comes, of course.
Fuck yeah.
Yep. All Nightmare Long, Cyanide,
yeah.
And The Judas Kiss.
The Judas Kiss is really good.
Yeah.
For me, I think all of the songs but My Apocalypse are like, it's so hard to choose between those first 9.
Yeah.
My Apocalypse is my least favorite just because I've heard it the least. This is gonna be I don't know if this is gonna be controversial because I've heard a lot of people say this, but I'm gonna say with pride, The Day That Never Comes is a better one. Like the song 1, it's a great formula. They've used that formula since then with the Unforgiven and whatnot, but The Day That Never Comes perfected that formula. It's got the lyrics are slightly better in my opinion, although it's kind of hard to top greatness, right?
Yeah.
One is already great lyrics, but the solos, the solos are probably worse, but the heaviness and it's just better written cohesively. The transitions between the more soft and the heavier stuff is better. The lyrics go on for longer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's a better version of the one formula.
This album, 74 minutes, 54 seconds.
Same length.
Yep.
2 songs less or 1 song less?
There's 10 songs on Death Magnetic.
1 song less.
Yep.
So longer songs overall, but I think that's mainly because Suicide and Redemption.
Yeah, that's 9 minutes 57. You're looking at a 10-minute song. The song before Judas Kiss is 8 minutes.
Yeah, I did not realize that was 8 minutes.
All Nightmare Long is 8 minutes. The end of the line is 7:50, so it might as well be 8 minutes. The Day Never Comes is 8 minutes, pretty much. Yeah, you're looking around 8 minutes for these.
Even
songs.
Unforgiven 3 is 7:45.
Yeah,
yeah, they're all fairly long songs.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. My Apocalypse is the shortest song, and it's that spot where Dyer's Eve fits, and or where Damage Inc. fits, and it's supposed to be the heavier at the end final song, and it is heavier, but it's not quite fast.
Right. There's a lot of blues for these. There's no way all these were hits.
I think it's more interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll just name off the ones that are tagged so you can see. There's no way. Broken Beat and Scarred, The Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, Cyanide, The Unforgiven 3, Judas Kiss, and My Apocalypse.
Probably a good amount of those. for sure, The Day That Never Comes, The Unforgiven 3, and All Nightmare Long. I think Cyanide, Judas Kiss, and My Apocalypse are more other stuff, and Broken, Beaten, Scarred was also a pretty popular song. So
Okay.
a few of them, yeah.
The album cover's cool.
I love this album cover. I know a lot of people hate on it. People say it's bad. I don't get it.
It's a coffin, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah, so it's a coffin, but with the magnetic field.
Okay.
And obviously death, because the coffin, right?
Yeah.
And they use dirt, and they have the magnetic field, and it's such a cool concept.
It is. It does look cool.
And especially with the death magnetic, how the D and the C are magnets.
Yes.
I love that little touch, and I don't know. It's. I wish it wasn't white, because that's kind of like hard to see the name and the title.
Yes.
It's great album cover.
The next album after this was Hardwired to Self-Destruct. You named off your songs, right, on that one?
Yep.
Okay, good. Right now, everything's going so quickly here because so much Metallica. Hardwired to Self-Destruct, released November 18th, 2016. Again, this time now, the label for Death Magnetic was Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers, they went.
That was because of Rick Rubin.
Okay. Sure. So they got away from Elektra. They went with Warner Bros. Now we're with Blackened, which is their own.
They created a label between this. I think it was around their 30th anniversary. They went back and they put all of their records on their own label, remastered them all, and then came out with Self-Destruct, Hardwired.
All right. Sold only 1,290,000.
But there's a caveat with this. Streaming became a thing around this time.
Yes.
Same with Death Magnetic. Like Death Magnetic also has that, but less. Whereas this album was very much streaming. I think this album would probably be around the 5 to 6 million mark if it wasn't for that. But streaming really took a lot of the sales away.
The album art is all 4 guys as one.
Actually, interesting thing. There's 4 different album arts.
Oh, is there?
There's one of each main guy. So like on the one you see on Spotify, it's James is like kind of the front person.
Yeah, I think that's who it is on this photo here.
There's one for each person. They did a bunch of them and they look weird. I don't like this album at all. The artwork.
Yeah, that's interesting. They also stole that artwork, by the way, from another.
It looks very similar to the Queen one.
They stole it away. Okay, let's get down here.
Although I will say the logo, where the glitch effect on the logo looks really interesting. I like that.
Yeah. 12 songs, 77 minutes for a long album again.
Long album.
Yeah. The longest song appears to be
Halo on Fire?
Yeah, Halo on Fire, 8 minutes. The shortest song looks to be 3 minutes. That's Hardwired.
Their second shortest song overall.
Which was a radio hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was
their second single, I think.
Yeah.
The first or second single behind then Moth into Flame.
Yeah, the blue ones here are Hardwire, Atlas Rise, Now That We're Dead, Moth into Flame, and Spit Out the Bone.
Yeah, those would be the single, or the big ones. The first 4 were big, and then Spit Out the Bone was their single, and it's like, hey, this is our thrash song.
So this is what I got from this album. So I gave it a listen to today. I only heard it
a few times.
Twice.
Yeah, twice.
With you and with
the Metallica.
Yeah, I didn't even have this album downloaded.
Yeah,
Death Magnetic was my last one. So Hardwired, of course, great song. Now That We're Dead, I got Seek and Destroy vibes from it.
It's such a good song. It's slower, but it's
because when it first started, I started singing the beginning to Seek and Destroy. I'm like, this isn't Seek and Destroy, but yeah,
it's got that rhythmic kind of gallop to it.
Yeah. Moth in the Flame, of course, is great. And I'll say this, Moth in the Flame even sounds better on S&M 2.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is a killer tune. Dream No More, I got Reload vibes.
Yeah,
I feel like that.
Dream, I think it was Dream No More. I can't remember if it's their second or third song that they talk about Cthulhu. No, the third song. So they had Call Cthulhu, The Thing That Should Not Be, and then Dream No More.
Okay.
And this is the only song that they've named. You're not supposed to say Cthulhu's name. That's the whole mythos. You're not supposed to say his name because then whatever.
Yeah.
They said it in this song, and that pisses me off.
Well, it's just funny that I just got a lot of, I thought, man, this sounds like could be on Reload. Like, just the vibe to it.
This is the beginning of, I know we talked a bunch about 72 Seasons being a culmination. This was the start of that.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't quite there, but it's beginning.
For sure. Halo on Fire, I liked. I liked Confusion. I liked Here Comes Revenge because it gave me Load vibes. It sounded like something should have been off Load. Murder One, and of course, the last song, Spit Out the Bone, sounds like it should have been a punk song. It's so fast and
Yeah.
loud.
Oh yeah, that's one of the.
Yeah, loved it.
A while back, I listened to the album. I listened to the whole thing. And then the only song that I was like, I don't really care for it. Even like the one that was talked about a lot was "Spit Out the Bone." Because
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, this is one of the best songs. I didn't care for it. I went back and listened to it on its own. Now it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
albums. I think Hardwired, Atlas Rise, the first four, Hell on Fire, and Spit Out the Bone.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by Murder One. Murder One and Man Unkind are the least are well known. Well.
I didn't like Man Unkind.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
those two songs are well attributed to some of the worst Metallica songs.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
I thought it was
Murder One. I hate that song.
I just
Man
had
Unkind, Confusion, Murder
Yeah,
One.
I just had it. I like the vibe to it. I don't know why. I just got it.
I don't know.
But
I think,
well, give it a chance.
there's two unique things I think about this record, and they kind of had to do with the fact they stopped it. Well, it's weird because Death Metallica, they went back and listened to their old stuff, and they kind of wrote music based off that.
Mm-hmm.
But this album, they went back and listened to the music that they listened to when they made their first record.
Okay.
So there's a lot in Atlas Rise. One of the riffs is straight out of an Iron Maiden song. I'm not even trying to pretend it's not. And then Am I Savage is their version of Am I Evil? Like it's they use similar riffs and whatnot. Megadeth did the same thing in like early 2000s, and then on the deluxe edition, there's a few bonus tracks, and one of them was a cover of an Iron Maiden song.
Yes, the deluxe. There is a deluxe edition out there, and there's a lot of live songs. There's cover songs, everything. That's hardcore. I want to go back to Death Magnetic for just one quick thing. I kind of forgot to mention this. When I started listening to it today, I could see some Saint Anger vibes in it with how it sounds.
Oh, it sounds awful. I hate the way Death Magnetic sounds.
Yeah, it feels like
it's recorded on a fucking toaster.
Yeah, it feels like it could be. It's definitely like connected to Saint Anger, just the style of how it sounds.
Yeah, I think it's a very there's very clear differences, but they didn't fix their production. People were complaining about Saint Anger, because of the writing, but more so the production. Yeah, like the writing's bad, but it's not nearly as bad as the production is. And Death Magnetic fixed the writing, which thank God. Yeah. But they didn't change the production. The only thing they changed was they made Lars change his snare sound. Yeah. To less, but it's just such a loud record. For some reason, they're like, here's the bass volume. It's all at 0 or 50 or whatever the default is. And they're like, volume to 100, gain to 100, treble to 100, and then bass to 0. Mm-hmm. Like, it's fucking awful. It sounds awful. Yeah. It's not too bad in like a vehicle, but
so
pissing me off.
With that being said, now we're down to the last album. 72 Seasons, which came out of nowhere, released April 14th, 2023, still with the label blackened because it is Metallica's label, sold a walloping number of 373,000.
That makes sense.
Streaming.
Streaming and it came out a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Still, I think you said streaming's going to be a big part now.
No, like that's...
Who's that over there? We hear a voice on the right. Who do we have?
It changes things.
Ladies and gentlemen, Melissa is here today. she is enjoying the Metallica talk today.
Yeah.
Though it is funny, Melissa, I will say this about her today. I was going through 72 Seasons as well, and she goes, I don't really like this. She goes, which is funny because when I first heard this album, I liked it.
It's the same with Matt, right?
Yeah.
He's had the same
why
opinion.
is that?
I don't know.
I like it.
I know it's a new, so I know that a lot of people have this with new albums. They think, oh, because it's new, I have to like it or I have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then you listen to it more, and your kind of opinions, you get settled on where your opinions are. But for me, my opinion's only grown with this album.
Well,
like originally I thought it was good, and then the more I listen to it, it's just grown. It's
a total of 77 minutes, 14 seconds. Again, the typical Metallica album, you're looking at under 80 minutes. 12 songs. So
the
again,
longest record to this date, I think, or it's the same length as Load. I can't remember.
Load is 78. There was one that was 78, wasn't it?
I think
Load was 78:59.
Yeah, so it's 1 minute shorter.
Second
longest.
Yeah. 72 Seasons has 12 songs, much like the Black Album.
Yeah, their longest song, 11 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yes. That's the last song.
Yeah.
What's it called? In a
Marata.
And what's their shortest? 3:22. I believe, is
325, yeah.
Lux.
322,
What's it
something
called? Is that Lux Eterna? Is that how
Lux
you?
Eterna,
Yeah. Uh, Again, this is a great album for just if you want to listen to all every single Metallica album in one. Put this on.
Yeah.
You're gonna get each track. You're gonna
Yeah.
get something from that.
I like what, I don't know if it was you or me that said it first, but this is the modern Black Album.
It is. You said it. I think you may have said it, or I don't know now. We both
Yeah.
agreed though. We're like, yeah,
because
totally.
it's the one record that there's a bit of caveat there because this is a longer record,
Mhm.
but you listen to this album and you can just enjoy every song. There's no songs that are offensive. There's no songs that are just kind of
No.
like bad.
No, there isn't.
It's all good songs. There might be songs that you don't like as much, just like on Black Album. I don't like The God That Failed. On this album, I'm not a huge fan of the Crown of Barbed Wire.
Right.
But you can listen to the whole album and be
okay with it.
You can have a good time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. For me, I picked these songs as the ones I like the most. 72 Seasons, of course, the track. Shadows Follow, Screaming Suicide, Lux Eternia, Too Far Gone, and Room of Mirrors. I like that. And now, those are the ones I just really remembered from when I went through this. I need to give it. I only listened to this album three times. Yeah.
I've listened to it a bunch because you don't stream as much as I do.
No.
I stream all the time, so I listen to this album on repeat when it came out. But
yeah.
For me, I do really like Sleepwalk My Life Away because it has a really cool bass line at the start. You Must Burn is probably the most underrated song on the album. It sounds straight out of Load.
I'll have to give that a
listen.
Bluesy
fucking guitar.
Okay.
Lux Eterna is a catchy song, and then the last three: Too Far Gone, Room of Mirrors, and Inamorata.
Yeah.
And there's not a song like, again, Crown of Barbed Wire is my least favorite, but I still like it. Chasing Light is meh, but I still like it. But the whole album is great. There's not a song I dislike.
There's a few songs here highlighted blue. I'll read them off so you can think. 72 Seasons, of course.
Yep.
Screaming Suicide.
Yep.
Lux Eterna. If Darkness Had a Sun, and that Inamorata song.
So the first four that you said were the singles.
Okay.
It was released Lux Eterna, Screaming Suicide, If Darkness Had a Sun, and then 72 Seasons.
Yeah.
And then Too Far Gone after the album was released. Inamorata, I think, is just a long song. I think that's why it's highlighted.
Yeah.
And actually, I should double check.
Too Far Gone was easily my favorite song off the album, though.
Yeah, it's definitely the most catchy.
It is.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, 72 Seasons, the song, not the album, won a Grammy last year.
Oh, nice.
Or this year. Yeah, in February. It was up against quite a few great songs, but just Metallica won it. I don't think it's the best song in the record. It's a good song. It's more the thrash roots, but
yeah, Too Far Gone, by the way, only 4 minutes 34 seconds long. Perfect radio song.
They need to start making more short songs. Like, I love their long songs, like Inamorata, amazing song because it's got such a cool interlude, and I love epics. I've always as an Iron Maiden fan, I love epics.
Yeah.
But they need shorter songs. 4 to 5 minute songs are perfect Metallica songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even like some like Lux Eterna. If you have 1 3-minute song on every record, that's great because then you have something that's just it gets in, it punches you in the face and gets out.
Yeah, and that's what you need, and that helps on radio. It just helps.
Yeah.
You listen to this album more than I have, big time. If they did an S&M 3, what songs off here would you think would go good with a symphony?
Inamorata, Room of Mirrors. You Must Burn, and then maybe one of the first 4.
Okay.
Shadows Follow or 72 Seasons, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say because there's some songs on S&M I don't think are good songs for S&M. They work because any song will work good, but like there's some songs I'm like Master of Puppets. I'm like, it works. You could definitely get a better song for it.
Agreed.
But yeah, Inamorata and Room of Mirrors are like the two I'm like, yeah, those would sound cool. Because Room of Mirrors with the dual harmonized guitar at the end, having the symphony join in on that would be peak. That would be so good.
Excellent.
Speaking of 72, it's S&M.
Yes.
What songs throughout their entire discography? What songs would be your 2 or 3 ones that you would want to see the most?
Like if they on
If they
SNM.
did a third
Oh
one,
my
what
god.
song's the most that you'd want to hear?
Do we have enough time? No, I mean, holy.
just a few.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
the whole
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
album.
back to like what okay. I know we said we'd love to have the trilogy of the Unforgivens in a row, but
well, I think that's guaranteed. We'll just say
yeah.
that's going to be.
Yeah.
Out there.
I would like to have heard perhaps the house Jack built. I think there's with the guitar like that again in that like the symphony doing that too. I would like that. Wasting My Hate because it's so starts off at that good day, how do, and then it's like you know, it just goes heavy. For that would be for Load Reload. I would like Low Man's Lyric.
Yeah,
just the
Low Man's Lyric.
Yeah, the sound of that. I would like that for sure. Yeah, like I think for those earlier songs, let's say if I was to go back, I mean, would Fade is Fade to Black the right kind of song to have with a symphony? You know,
I think it would be cool, like Fade to Black with like the end solo.
Yeah,
with I think that'd be cool.
How about you? What do you think?
I don't even know. I just asked you.
Well, no, I mean, because you for the newer albums, you're more familiar with it. I know they did S&M too, but was there songs you thought should have been on?
Well, I'm going through right now to double check the songs. I think All Nightmare Long would be an awesome song.
Yeah.
Even like I don't think it'd fit necessarily, but it's one like similar to Master Puppets where it might not fit, but I think they could do it really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously the songs on 72 Seasons, there's a few on there, but
yeah.
One that I really would love to see is Phantom Lord.
Oh, really?
There's a really cool interlude in the middle, and that would be cool to have on there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did. Do you know if they did Four Horsemen on the first S&M? I don't think so.
I don't think they did.
Let me check. Because if not, that would be a cool one.
Yeah, I don't think.
No, it's not on
No,
there.
did they do anything off of Kill 'Em All on S&M?
Seek and Destroy, I think.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't even know if they did that.
S&M. Let me find out here.
But yeah, it's mainly just the trilogy, All Nightmare Long, maybe Room of Mirrors. Actually, it would be cool to hear.
No, they didn't.
Did they? I don't think they did Now That We're Dead, but that would be a cool one.
Yeah. No, see, the first S&M did not have anything off of.
No, yeah, the only
Kill 'Em All.
Kill 'Em All song they've done is Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth.
Yeah.
On S&M 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, some early stuff would be cool. Four Horsemen and Phantom Lord.
Well, I think
No Remorse.
with S&M, they came out at the end of 90. It came out in 99. It's so close to Load, Reload, and the Black Album. The majority of the songs on that are from those albums, right? They have the big hits from Puppets Puppet. And
they're big hits.
Yeah, and Lightning and Justice, yeah. So,
yeah.
Oh, you know, actually, I hate to cut you off there, but imagine if they did like Turn the Page, like the cover songs.
That would be cool. Turn the Page. If there would be cover songs, Turn the Page and Am I Evil would be the two I'd want.
Yeah.
Tuesday Gone would be cool, but
Tuesday's Gone. It just sounded like Leonard Skinner. I think if you did that,
be too much. Yeah.
What about Astronomy? That would be.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Check that one out. Because the original version of that would have been
Blue Oyster Cult,
right?
Yeah.
So
I think, and even like a Beyond Magnetic song would be cool, but I don't think they play those ever.
No. I Disappear would have been cool.
I Disappear would be cool. But like, you know what's interesting is the first S&M was definitely based around Load and Reload.
Yes.
They definitely released that with those two albums in mind.
Oh, for sure.
They put on their Baker hits like Enter Sandman and Master Puppets from the Bell Tolls because they're the big hits.
Yeah.
And then with S&M 2, it was mainly focused around Hardwired.
Yeah.
They had some songs. They had two songs from Death Magnetic.
Yep.
They had two songs from Saint Anger. No.
Too much.
They had All Within My Hand. I think they just had the one, All Within My Hands.
Yeah.
And then they had the songs that they normally play, Outlaw Torn, No Leaf Clother, and then their big hits.
Yep.
So I don't know if they'd be able to do another one. I know they did, like, SM2 is basically just Hardwired, set, like, just for Hardwired, but, like, if they were to release another S&M, it'd probably have to be after one more studio album.
Probably so.
Even though I don't think anyone would be against it. Like, I think everyone would be like, all for that.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think they probably need one more album.
I think that, or even a live album, something.
Yeah, something in between.
Yeah, because that's the thing too. Metallica's never. The only time they ever did a live album was that live Binge and Purge.
Well,
they
have some they did they have I think 3 official. They have besides S&M, they have live shit Binge and
that's it.
Binge and Purge. They have Helping Hands.
Yeah, and
which was an acoustic. And then Through the Never.
Yeah,
which was for the motion picture.
That's right.
And that was technically all of them. And then there should be caveat being said here. If you go on their YouTube channel, they release almost every song they do live on their YouTube channel, which is incredible. When the first time they did Too Far Gone, they released a live they released it on YouTube and it's on Spotify as well. But they've been releasing songs they've done live for 5 years now.
Through the Never, that forever. Did that come out on vinyl? I wonder. Or did they?
I don't fucking know. Probably.
You should
Cyanide's on there. Shit.
On what?
On Through the Never. I did not realize they had.
Yeah, it does.
And okay, maybe I want to try and find that because that's cool. That's a cool greatest hits, but live.
I kind of forgot about. I have this download. I totally forgot about this.
Okay, so one more thing before we kind of close this off, I wanted to ask you, Bill.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you know about the M72 season, live show.
I don't know.
The tour they've just done with so essentially what they did, instead of they have a lot of songs, right? Mm-hmm. They have 200 something songs. Instead of doing a 2-hour set list or 3-hour set list or whatever, actually they did do. Instead of doing a long set list with the songs that everyone's heard 100 times.
Right.
And trying to fit in 72 seasons into there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
What they did was probably the best tour I've ever seen, and I hope that other bands follow suit. They did what is called a no-repeat weekend. So what they do is they take, I think it was almost always a Friday and a Sunday, and they take the Friday would be your first night.
Mm-hmm.
It would be some of the popular songs, so it's Enter Sandman, Master Puppets, Fade to Black, and fucking, I don't know, Sad But True. Right. And then the second night would be some of your other ones, whatever it is. But your first night had a set list that it was completely unique to no other night during this tour. And then the next week, there would be no repeats from that first day and completely unique set list from every other night. So every weekend, wherever they went, it would be a completely unique combination of 2 different set lists.
Wow.
Which was really cool. And then they were posting it on Instagram, the set list. But you get some nights where it's hey, this is a very your first day is very thrash and your second day is very slow. Or some nights you get more Saint Anger, some nights you get more Hardwired or whatever. And it was kind of a cool concept that definitely should be repeated again from other bands. Especially bands with more songs.
Yeah, it's crazy to think they still remember how to play all those songs.
Yeah, and they did do just arenas. So I think it was probably 20 or 30 shows. But
right.
And that's the thing. They've always rehearsed. You can go online and see a lot of their rehearsal videos, and they probably rehearse every day.
Yeah.
Before the show and the songs that they aren't familiar with.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's nice because that's a good way for them to play the songs the deep cuts that people don't get to hear very often.
For sure. Well, everyone, that was our look back at Metallica through the years of the albums. If you want to check out our top songs, our top albums, check out the New Apartment Radio Podcast YouTube page, and
you can even listen to the podcast there if you want.
There you go. Yeah, we also do you can listen to everything on there. So check that. Subscribe to us and check us out.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Let us know your favorite albums and what your ranking is.
Yeah, and let us know what you want to hear down the road. Do you want to hear if you have if you like bands that we like, we'll gladly look into it and do a podcast on it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it gives us ideas too then, because we're just what do we do?
Yeah.
Before I end this, I would like to just say something first, which is non-Metallica related, because I don't know when I'm going to get the chance to say this, because this is this will be released weeks from now, so by then this will be old news. But last Monday, the music world lost a great musical singer in Shifty Shellshock from Crazy Town. He unfortunately passed away because of drug use. It came out, and we all kind of knew that. He's been struggling for years with drugs and alcohol. And it's unfortunate because Crazy Town is a band that kind of gets shit on in that they say they're a one-hit wonder because of Butterfly. Butterfly's a great song, don't get me wrong, it really is. The entire album of The Gift of Game was good. It was really good. And a lot of the music on The Gift of Game and their follow-up album, Dark Horse, that came out in 2002 or 3, I forget what year it was, but it got me through a lot of my early 20s because of the stuff they talked about and the things they were speaking. It kind of hit home with me. And they released a third album just about 5-6 years ago called The Brimstone Sluggers, but it's too bad that we'll never hear another Crazy Town album again. They were a new metal band, no matter what people says. They were on Ozfest. They did all that. Their second album is completely metal, except for 2 songs, which are slow. They took a Red Hot Chili Pepper style of music and made it hard and made it listenable and made it fun.
They did add a little bit of hip hop too.
They did.
Yeah.
And it's a band that gets overlooked. And I introduced Jackson. Jackson knew a Butterfly. The one night I threw on The Gift of Game. I said, check out this album.
It's a pretty good record.
It is.
It's not it's like there's some songs I don't love, but it's a solid record.
It is. It's listenable. There's the songs that are catchy, and that's all that matters. It's just too bad that Seth Binzer, who was Shifty Shell Shock, is no longer here. And I just wanted to get that out now because, like I said, this won't be coming out till weeks later. Yeah. And maybe I've been listening to Crazy Town a lot lately, just reintroducing myself to them again, finding my passion for them again. It just sucks to know they'll never have another album. This must be exactly how Linkin Park fans felt when Chester passed away.
Yeah.
Again, another shitty situation. It's messed up. These lead singers. It's funny, and I use funny as not as a funny way, but it's funny as in an ironic way the lead singer of these rap rock bands are the ones that die first. Mike Shinoda and Brett Epic Mazur were the rappers of the bands.
Yeah.
They're still alive.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
It is. It just sucks. Of course, I want to say this too about Shifty before I end this. Paul Oakenfold put out a song years ago called Starry Eyed Surprise. Shifty Shell Shock was the singer, and that one may be even more popular than Butterfly. So take that, all you Crazy Town haters, with your Butterfly one-hit wonder crap. With that being said, now, this was a great Metallica look back for us. We said we were going to do it for a long-ass time, and we did it, and it was fun. It was fun.
Well, we'll do more of these, but we got to take a break. We can't keep doing breakdowns of bands, especially since this is the band that we collectively know the most. This
is the band kind of that gave us this idea to start the podcast.
Yeah, well, this was the band that we could get along with. Right? This is the band that kind of helped connect us, right?
Oh, for sure. This was it. And then it grew to other things, and it helped us grow to like and learn new music from each other, which is even a greater thing to happen.
Yeah, the next ones we'll do are probably going to be bands we also enjoy. I'm not going to say any because I don't want to give any like confirmations or false promises, but it'll be bands that we both know, because there's obviously bands like Megadeth and Iron Maiden that I know very well that you don't know at all, and same with you. No NoFX and whatnot.
Yeah, and you're going to be
So we're going to do bands that we both know enough of that we can kind of do a little bit of research and figure it out.
That's right, and with help and with luck too, I should say. We'll probably have other people here because they're going to be, they'll know those bands.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Matt and Race and Roger and such could not be a part of this because they just don't know Metallica like Jackson and I do. And that's just the way it is. And it was nothing against them.
It's just the way things are.
Yeah. But yes, the next one we do, we'll probably go back to our usual gimmicky routine of just having Matt here, Race maybe. Shooting the shit. Shit in the shoot, whatever you want to call it. That'll be our next one. So I'm glad you all felt the need to sit through this and listen to this. And again, leave a comment what your favorite Metallica album is, favorite song. Even comment what you want us to talk about next. We're open to anything and everything here because really no one listens to us anyhow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Except for your dad.
Yeah, we got like 2 or something.
That's it. No, but I'm just, anyone who listens to this, I'm very, very glad. And yes, I do want to do a podcast on your back porch before summer ends. Yeah. We have to be there and do that.
I was planning today, but I'm like, we should finish this series.
Yes. maybe down the road, once inventory crap ends at our job, we will do that. So, thank you everyone for listening to Metallica. And with that being said, this is the end of the Metallica podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. And until we do our next one, it is I, the host Bill, with the producer Jackson.
Peace, everybody.
Peace. 1, 2, 3. Are you ready? Peace.